What's good, people? Welcome back to the NLG podcast, and happy another day. Arsenal haven't signed a player day, whatever day of the week that is. But yeah, we're back in the building with Non-Techie and France. Non-Techie, starting with you. How you doing, man? After that tragic loss yesterday, and just in general, in life, forget even about the game. How you doing?
I'm okay. Fortunately, I've had the opportunity to sleep on yesterday's result, but it wasn't so much the result as it was the performance. I feel like I've seen this performance like dozens of times before. It's just maybe a set piece or maybe an early goal has made a difference for us. But we'll get into that detail further on. But yeah, good otherwise. Thanks.
Good. France, what are you saying?
Hey there. I think pretty much same thing. Living life, doing whatever we needed to do. I think both NLG and myself, during the previous game, so not the Newcastle one before that, we didn't catch that game. We didn't manage to because we were out, and therefore the loss didn't seem so bad. We managed to catch this one, and obviously you can probably tell by NLG's face that wasn't great. But yeah, let's see. Let's get into it. How are you doing, NLG?
Yeah, man, not too bad. I mean, not too great. Doesn't even scratch the surface. I mean, I'm trying to live life, But you know what? As we were saying last weekend when we missed the Brighton game, we were like, wow, we're so glad we actually lived life, So people, take care of yourselves. Football's not the be all and end all. And what I will say is, Havertz and his performance might make it end it all. This was my funniest screenshot from yesterday. This, I don't even know if I can play this or I'll get copied. This was my favorite screenshot after Havertz miss from the fans.
The miss header.
The miss header.
I don't know why strikers don't keep their eyes open. Like, as in,
honestly,
it's strange.
This summed up yesterday.
That really came off his shoulders, and I cannot believe it. It was so nice.
It's the biggest sitter, and I feel like, anyway, we'll get into it. I want to start and actually open this with Arteta. I don't even want to go into the performance just yet. I want to start with this quote.
Don't do this.
Is he smoking something? Genuinely, like, is this guy okay? I actually think. Now, I'm somebody who I've always said Arteta will be a yes man from the day he comes into this club, but I think he's a good manager. I actually believe this. I believe he has some good philosophies. Does he invert every position on the pitch? Yes. Does he play centre mids and left back and centre mids at up top and goalkeeper inverting at left back and all sorts of madness? Yes. Does it work sometimes? Yes. And I think it has a good foundation of knowledge behind it. Has he lost the plot? Absolutely. This comment after yesterday's game, claiming that the Carabao Cup ball, had something to do with the fact we were launching balls over the crossbar, just absolutely spun my brain. Like, did any of you not see this comment? And just what are your thoughts on this guy? Because I'm honestly, I was speechless. I was speechless.
Can I just say, Arteta's long enough. Like, I know this is his first senior managerial role, but he's long enough in this role to be able to field these sorts of clickbaity type questions from the press, and not leave the club's press officer by him to sort of guide the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams play with a round ball. The grass is green. You play on one half of one side, one half of the other side. From amateur football to the top levels of football, nothing changes. You can't talk about the ball. I think the question was something of the nature of, the reporter says, other managers in the past have complained about the match ball. Do you feel it's different, and has it affected the result? Any three of us would have just sidestepped that question. We would have just been like, no, the ball is round, water's wet. Newcastle were better. Next question. But when you get drawn into these sorts of questions, you're given neutrals and the opposition fan base to sort of further pour into you. And I feel like he could have really avoided this, if I'm going to be honest. So it's disappointing to even hear him say it.
Honestly, I think that's exactly right. Like, there's only one answer to that question. Again, they call it waffle settings. This guy really is a serial waffler with syrup on top. France, what did you see this as well yesterday?
So I did see it, and what's funny is I want to allude to one thing that me and you keep going back and forth on, which is that this guy doesn't understand football. This is this is a this is a prime example. The funny thing is that you led your sort of explanation on this topic with a number of examples of how the things that he does show how much of a good manager. He doesn't get it. What's insane to me is that at a point he did get it. He seems to have forgotten what
Oh, do
this
you reckon?
is about.
Mm.
It seems to have, I don't know whether it's the immense amounts of stress coming from different avenues within the footballing cycle for him, because he's not just a coach, as we keep saying, he's a full-blown manager. So he actually has to take care of the club as a whole. We also don't even have a technical director right now, although there is some question marks over how much power, how much influence, how much of a role the technical director actually had to play, especially when you look at the signings of individuals like Havertz. But the bottom line here is that I echo the sentiments that Non-Techie gave. I will give Arteta a little bit of credit in the sense that when he first alluded to this, bear in mind he wasn't coaxed into it per se, not directly. He was basically asked something to the effect of, what sort of things can you do to get the players out of the mindset of, the fact that they missed multiple chances? And he said there isn't really anything that he can do, but maybe provide tips, which they already have, about things like how, the ball is different. After this, another reporter then chimed in. It actually could have even been the same reporter, but I think it was a different reporter who then chimed in and said, well, other managers have alluded to the fact that the ball is different. Therefore,
he did set him up, to be fair. The question
set
was a
him up,
setup, but the answer,
like Non-Tech, he said, as a manager, you know what's funny? I thought that Arteta, when he came in initially, was a very honest manager. He's since become a prime time waffler. He should work at Creams. He waffles. He waffles. He needs to get his Belgian passport. He is a waffler. Prime time.
This
And
guy
yet, this is a
literally
question
said,
that you could not avoid.
he said when you touch it, the grip is very different. Like, bro, what's he on? Like, what is he on about? Like,
buffoon.
You know what? That's
Can I
even because sorry, go on, take it.
Sorry, just very quickly. I think I read that Puma will start to manufacture the Premier League ball maybe in the next couple of years.
Is it?
So we had better adapt, as he said. In all fairness, he said we need to adapt. So,
Bring Mitre balls back, man. Bring Mitre balls back. This Arsenal team needs some strength, man.
Those Bibles that hit you in the face, you would drop down a set in school, bro. Like, you don't.
You will.
You ever been hit in the face with a Mitre football, bro?
Could you imagine being in Sunday League, playing Sunday League games, missing a shot and then saying, well, these balls aren't like they were in the Premier League?
Bro, let me tell you something.
What are you talking about?
This guy is waffling about the EFL ball being different to the Prem ball. Maybe it's like the 42 formations he's chatting about. Maybe there's 42 different shapes of footballs that he thinks we're playing with. Or maybe it's like the Mitre ball. Maybe there's 42 different panels on the football and the grip is different.
That's what it is.
I don't know. I don't know.
Carabao Cup ball's missing a couple panels.
Exactly.
It doesn't move the same.
It's not flying. It's not the what's it called? What was the ball that was flying around in that World Cup?
Jabulani
ball.
That's the one.
Shabalala just spanking it in our mind.
Yeah.
The swaz. The swaz on it. Moving like Wanted, man. If you don't know the movie, you know what I'm chatting about.
Wanted.
You're taking it there.
Taking it there.
Can I make a quick complaint?
Yeah.
Newcastle won this game fair and square, but they have this like plot armor. They have this underdog status. They get away with, like, you remember the dark arts that we were accused of like doing in the beginning of the season? like Joe Linton, I see his face and I just envisage him just fouling, elbowing, wrapping people up. And I cannot wait for that veneer to just like disappear,
Yeah.
for them to be officiated the way they should. That's all I'm going to say on that.
No, I hear it. And this is why, Arteta, let's speak about this game. Let's get on to the game now. We lost 2-0. Arteta before the match, we hadn't lost at the Emirates since April, Aston Villa. Isak, 14 goals, 15 games, firing on all cylinders, absolutely balling.
All in.
5 weeks ago, Eddie Howe was being called to leave the club by the fans. And they've just been off the back of, I think, a 5-game streak pretty much. So that's the context for the game. Arteta was being asked questions about why the Newcastle and Arsenal fixtures are so heated. And I think it's pretty much because Eddie Howe knows how these players can bully our team. Even some of our better players yesterday, Saliba's, Gabriel's, were just getting waltzed past by Isak. He made them look like small fry. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. So how did you lot find the first half? Because I will say this: the one positive I gave, and I think I mentioned this to France, is I feel like had it not been a semi-final and we came with that amount of application, like we came out with some level of confidence and directness that I don't think I've seen in any other Prem game, but I feel like maybe I've seen in Champions League, Sporting Lisbon's or PSG's. So from that standpoint, I think we came from an application, but the end result was always still the same, which was the final third was a horrendous, but
maybe
final third
as well.
Defensive lapses were in there too. So yeah, France, actually, let's start with you. What was your assessment of the game on the whole?
Yeah, I mean, I echo your sentiment. It's actually the reason why today I'm a bit calmer than I might have been, or I have been in other situations. Non-techies that you're not any calmer.
I
Right.
resonate with that, if I'm going to be honest.
But it actually, what's interesting, I think I've said this on this podcast before, is 2 seasons ago, sounded like a broken record now. We didn't win the league. However, the performances were so good that I actually came away from that season feeling like, weirdly enough, I was happy.
I know what you mean.
Happy to have watched that football, to have experienced the joys of those games and the interfluidity between our teammates and just how we actually managed to boss the first half of certain games and take the second to go and put goals past or relax a bit, cruise a little bit. The other teams try and force the issue while we just basically cruise on towards a 90 minutes and basically do it very professionally. We haven't really done that this season. We didn't do it very well, especially in the first half of last season. And it hasn't really been one of those things that we can explain our season this year or this season. Now, this game was slightly different. We came out with a little bit more spark. We came out with a little bit more aggression. We came out with a little bit more attacking know-how and willingness. And I think that part of it is what made me think, okay, this is a much better performance. So even by the end, knowing that we're 2 goals down, I look at it as maybe not a building block. I don't really think that we're just going to pick up where we left off in our next games. But at the very least, again, it shows Arteta and the team what they can aim for, even with the personnel that we do have, because people like to talk a lot about injuries and they like to talk about who's not here, etc., etc. And it should give these guys some belief in themselves and in that current lineup. And then also it should show Arteta, again, a lot of things should have shown Arteta, but it should show Arteta what he needs to strive for. Eddie Howe came to this. He came to the Emirates. He came to this game. He came to this competition, and he schooled Arteta 100%. He showed Arteta what you should be doing. This is what directness looks like. This is what style of play looks like. This is what being on the front foot looks like. this is what playing in a cup competition looks like. So, you know, there's a lot for the team to do, but it's been laid out there. The evidence is there both from ourselves and from the opposition in terms of what to emulate, in terms of what, you know, how we can try and better ourselves. But yeah, I'll leave it there.
Non-techie, off the back of that, obviously performance is what I'm gonna ask you, but under the lens of what was it that went wrong? Was the lineup something that was completely off? Was it, you know, do you want to take it back to transfer window? Do you want to, where do you feel like it went wrong today? Was it just a build up of things that have just led to the fact that we're just not ready for competitions? This is knock our confidence going into the FA Cup third round against United on the weekend, who, to be fair, gave Liverpool a genuine run for their money. So yeah.
Sorry, just on the subject of the FA Cup fixture, it's really funny. I really don't want us to try and wear that white on white kit again. I feel like we've not done one again.
No. I'm not gonna lie. No, never advocating for knife crime, end all knife crime.
I
But
know,
we're getting it back in blood. We're getting it back in blood.
About that.
We're getting it back in blood.
Yeah.
This Arsenal.
Shout out to the knife crime and the ones there. No, so I mean, end all knife crime. End it now. But yeah, no, the white
run in it. We love honestly, but now Arsenal need to be on crud mode. They need to start seeing red, like the way we wear the color.
To get
it back in blood. This is finished. We need to be on crud. But anyway,
I do hope for it, actually. No, it's a great question. Just within the scope of maybe just this game alone, I have to say you can look at a number of things, credible things as to why we didn't win this game, or maybe why we didn't perform that well. But the old maxim's true. Goals change games. I seem to remember Martinelli breaking through from a weird position. He almost like came in off his wing and sort of received the ball, took a great first touch from the halfway line, went through and goal and hit the post. You score then you're talking about a different game state. You're talking about Newcastle have to be open. You're talking about us being able to break in between the lines as the game goes on. But it was Isak who scored. And it was Isak who made the second goal, a parried shot. But I think it was Gordon who might have followed up. And so, it was our finishing. Timber missed a relatively easy header from a pretty routine corners, knowing how our corners have been. They always try and sort of just dive quite quickly into that 6-yard box. If Gabriel's on the end of it, and I think he followed up behind Timber on that, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, that was such a good chance, even if it wasn't for me. Havertz, we spoke about. And I think the Timber and Havertz chances might have been when we were a goal or two down anyway. But we have to remember this is like half time within the entirety of the fixture.
Mm-hmm.
And so going into that second leg or second game with a goal maybe changes the complexion of what we have to do up at St. James's Park.
100%.
Once Newcastle went 2-0 up, I think Isak came off, maybe for like Harvey Barnes, and watched the highlights again.
And Almiron.
And Almiron as well.
He says,
what that? Yes.
huh?
It was the formation was 5-5, 5-5-0. You just saw. I think they started with something like a 5-4-1 in the beginning.
Exactly. I think the first sub was 5-4. They said 5-4, and then from Barnes, I think he was told 5-5.
5-5. And let's be honest, Almiron and Barnes can do the running in such a way that if they're the wide forwards, they can be flexible and form wide forwards in that. But it was a 5-5, and so we always talk about, listen, you don't have to play well throughout 90 minutes. You can score within the first half, score another goal, and then manage the rest of the game. And Newcastle did it to us. And I feel like that sort of gives you an impression of what the next 90 minutes may look like. And they've got the pace. They've got the individuality. And this is where I'll come to maybe what's wrong with the season. We didn't take opportunities in this game. Honestly, I felt like had we scored first, we'd see a bit more of what we're about. But I think, like you said, our transfer windows haven't been great. It's not just the budget spent on defenders. It's the fact that we keep on buying defenders and we haven't bought the right type of forward personnel. It's been the likes of wasting money on the likes of Willian, for example, or Havertz, and they haven't really been able to take us to the next level. And I think the system we've seen over the seasons enables us to get, top four, or maybe just on the cusp of top four. The next season breaks you into the top four, you get second. And we've fallen short of breaking that. And then right now, what we need is some F-off strikers, people who get into the final third and have the individual talent, and not least somebody in the profile of an Isaac, for example, who can just say, I'm not really going to stick to the script here. I know what I'm doing. My instinct tells me I'm going to drive here, dart there. And if you watch him all game, that's what he does. He's got the freedom of the pitch. And I just wish we had that in our team. I think that's what's let us down this season.
And on that point, the efficiency of Newcastle. That's exactly it. A player with the freedom to roam. A player that understands spatial awareness. 2 points I'll make on this. We look at the shot straight away. For the viewers, Arsenal 23, for the listeners rather, Arsenal 23 shots, only 3 on target. Newcastle 7 shots, 4 on target.
Game state is massive in that, by the way.
Game state is massive.
Yeah, Newcastle just decided we're shutting up shop after certain.
Which is true. This is massive. So of course, that's actually a good point. That's massive in terms of
margins.
Yeah.
Well, no, fine margins.
That's what Mikel will tell you.
Fine margins, actually, Mikel, I'll educate you today, is what Newcastle did. Yeah. Which is they have 7 shots, 4 on target, 2 of those are goals. Remember,
FIFA, by the way. I'm just saying. I'm just gonna FIFA. 1 shot, 1 goal, win the game. It's
fact.
Sometimes that's all you need.
That's all you need, bro.
Sometimes that's all you need.
I keep telling you,
efficiency.
You know what I'm saying?
I keep telling you.
I remember Isak did this to us in the last game. It was a cross from, I can't remember who crossed the ball. It was mad. We were in the game against Newcastle the last time. 1 crossing, Isak header. I can't remember who he leapt over. It might have been Gabriel. And easy goal. They were not in the game. It was 1 shot, 1 goal, I think, the last time we played
St. James's Park, was it?
This was, I think, at St. James's.
I remember that one. Sorry, just very quickly. Was it the same game where the ball seemed to go out?
Yeah, I think so.
It might have been Joe Linton that scored that one, because I remember, and his hands were in Gabriel's back. And
I think this was one.
In my mind, that has to be a foul, because you can't combat that as an opponent.
It gives an advantage.
It does.
It gives an advantage that you can't combat, and there is no way back for a defender once that's occurred. There's no fighting ability.
Yeah, it's not like a shoulder to shoulder. It's not like you both jumped in the air. It's you primed yourself to get it. You read the trajectory of the ball, and then somebody just pushes you over or center of gravity. You're gone. It happened to Odegaard for the first goal.
Yeah. Isak pushed him in the back.
I have less of an issue with that one. I don't like it. Don't get me wrong, but I think Odegaard is kind of like he's got like an attacker's mentality in a box.
Yeah,
which is true. However, 2 hands in the back.
Yeah.
Is a foul in every situation. I'm not trying to give Arsenal an out here. Regardless of what happened there, Arsenal wouldn't have scored. That's a fact. Yeah. And if everything had carried on the way it carried on, Newcastle would still be 1-0 up, which again is a shambles. You now have to switch pitches. You have to go up to St. James's Park on a cold 5th of February and go and play them up there while being a goal down. And these guys can just shut up shop all over again, and you get nothing all over again. Yeah. I'm not really giving them an excuse, but it is a howler, and it's awful from every member of that VAR team and
the refereeing team.
But no excuse.
I think Wash has got the game up.
Yeah, this is the game in November I was talking about. 1 goal. They weren't even in the game like that at St. James's Park.
Yeah, sorry.
But this made the difference. 10 shots, 1 on target. It's the same story, different game. Same story, different match, different ground.
Just to give you an example of just how poor Arteta is versus this Newcastle side. One of Newcastle's first proper attacks was Murphy picks up the ball behind the halfway line. So more in their half than in Arsenal's half. And he chips the ball down the line into Isak.
Yes.
Isak takes a couple of touches, towards the line, towards the byline. And then he just spins out. He spins out and then looks internally. So he spins back into play and then looks internally, passes it to
Give left freedom.
Linton. But Joe Linton seems to have spotted somebody in the crowd who might have been sleeping, and he looks like he wants to wake him up. And he absolutely roasts it over the bar. Don't understand it, but that's all the better for us. Should have been a warning shot. Should have been a warning moment. But by the time Joe Linton actually shoots, Newcastle are actually 3-on-3. They started literally 1 against 3, with Isak being the only person who's actually looking to make a move. And by the way, Isak runs along Gabriel's blind side. Gabriel's ball watching at this point. Martinelli goes to put in some weak challenge on Murphy. MLS runs up towards Murphy to try and pressure him, but is far, far away by the time that ball comes down the line. And they're already having an attack with just one attacker in that front line. A problem that was caused from half or from even behind the halfway line.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you create counter-attacking football that can shock teams. Of course, it's too much for Mikel. The second time, Jacob Murphy again, carrying the ball on the wing, yet again. And then I think this time, again, Gabriel's caught ball watching. But this time, when he plays the pass, Isak bombs onto the blind side. Saliba goes to follow him again. But this time, Isak just accelerates past him. Runs into the box. Cut back pass, but there's no Newcastle attacker to actually pick this up. I think by this time, Gordon's run, he's too far wide. And then Lewis Hall manages to get onto the ball later on and then tries to have a shot, which is blocked. But all of this stuff is just bizarre to me, how Arteta doesn't understand this ball. Funnily enough, we had one counter-attack. Nonteki spoke about it. That was the Martinelli chance. Comes from Partey after a Newcastle attack. It was a shot that was blocked, I think. No, it wasn't. Rice defended this. And once Declan Rice defended this, he passed to Partey, and Partey immediately passes the ball out towards his right, directly to Trossard. Trossard sees Martinelli right on that defensive line, or just a bit inside of the defensive line.
Beautiful
and it's like,
move.
you know what? This guy can run. I'm actually going to play him. And this is the perfect way to attack and break lines. Now, I know that Newcastle have pressed incredibly high here, but we need our attackers to understand where the last line of the defense is and how to push against them.
Let me ask you a question.
Martinelli goes. It's unfortunate that you can't finish, but the game is the game.
Where's Havertz here?
Havertz. Left wing. Is he left wing?
No, isn't Havertz in the blue with the flag?
He should be. He should be in the blue. He should be in the blue football kit at Chelsea. That's where he should be. But instead, he's at left wing when Martinelli seized and sensed danger down the middle. Something we've asked Arteta to try. He's never wanted to try it. At some point when we were actually asking for Martinelli to play maybe 2-3 seasons ago and he wouldn't play him, Arteta was saying he's thinking about, giving him other options as a striker, or like he's trying that out in training. Yeah, again, I don't know whether it's not worked on the training pitch or what, but every time I feel like there was a sniff of danger and we had opportunities, Gabriel Magalhaes had more danger opportunities, barring the header Havertz had. Gabriel was in more dangerous opportunities in the striker position than Havertz yesterday. No joke, no word of a lie. I don't understand Havertz. What do we do? Direct question. Firstly, do we have any chance at St. James's Park in about a month? And two, what do we need to do with this attack to have a chance in that game? Is there anything we can do? With Saka out, is it actually just Carabao Cup over? And, is that just it? GG, we move on.
Go on, non-Turkey.
Just very quickly, I feel like that 2-0 scoreline is a great result for Newcastle to take back. But with time passing, having to reorganize and think about how to approach the game, I think we'll see a lot more of that. Maybe not a 5-5-0 formation, but a really structured, like, we're tentative to come out of our half 5-4-1. With the knowledge, though, that's not a criticism of Newcastle, because
No,
as you can see, they can turn that into a quick attack with the likes
and
of
they
like
did the work.
Georgian.
They did the work
Yeah,
necessary to allow them
precisely.
to be able to play that way.
Precisely. This is football. That the most important stat is the scoreline, basically. Um, so if we're gonna work around that, and to be fair, we should be a team that knows how to face deep blocks. We should really be looking at width around it. We're not going to really float in crosses like that to the likes of Havertz, for example, Trossard, when they've got guys like Dan Burn at the back. I think the whole back line are just flipping units. But we're really going to have to exploit width in this game
Yeah,
as a tactic, and maybe sacrifice some of the security that inverting your fullback gives you, and start to look at the overlaps, really stretch them, and ask different types of questions of defenses. Defenders don't like to turn. They don't like to run back to their own line. They don't like to have to look over their shoulder and to really wear them down. I think probably that is probably one route towards our best chance of the game
yeah.
in a month's time.
I definitely think width is a way we can get at them. I don't think there's much. Again, I don't think the players should have this mentality, but I don't think there's really any chance of us clawing that back. I do think if Waneri is back fit in a few weeks, which he should be out for a few weeks, but it might be too soon for him by that game, maybe he can add the width we need, or potentially maybe like we should have started the game, had Jesus starting. Although between Jesus, Trossard, and Havertz, you can't tell what day they're gonna have. Can't tell what side of the bed they're waking up on. Honestly, it's all a plug and hope. It's not even plug and play. It's a plug and hope kind of thing. But we need a player that's a plug and play. France, what do you think? Do you think it's possible that we can claw it back, or do you think it's gone? And what would you change about the team?
Sounds stupid to say, but games of football are never really over. You never know what will happen. That being said, being logical about this, it's not happening. In order for us to really, really get anything from this game, we have to throw everything in the kitchen sink at it. Now, you really would have to have, I think, 4 attackers on the pitch. 4 attackers who are literally trying to stay up front almost continuously, or your shape has to move in such a way that when you are on the attack, it allows one of the more central attackers, to move into that attacking position, like right on the line of the last defense. People have to be bombing it forward. As Non-Techie said, you will have to sacrifice some of your defensive elements. I don't understand what happened to having an overlapping fullback. I don't understand it when it comes to Arteta. And what he doesn't seem to understand is it leaves him predictable.
Yeah,
Because you have
precisely.
a one-track mind, you have one way of doing things, you have one way of executing your attacks. And that is such a great weapon for your opposition. It's why they like to double up on Saka. In this game, they were tripling up on Martinelli. And it's easy. You nullify the wingers, and you basically try and just ensure that you have a couple of midfielders, whatever, to watch the inverter. And basically, everything shut up shop. The other thing I would say is that with the advent of the number of games that we have within the season across competitions, I really don't see what we can actually do here, because do you want to throw the kitchen sink at it knowing there's a possibility of injuries, there's a possibility of fatigue, etc., and then all of this now going into your next competitions, including the league? I mean, it's big. We have FA Cup, we have Champions League, we have the league. So I don't think Arteta is going to go all out. I don't think we necessarily have the personnel to do it. I don't think he has the mindset to do it. And also, it probably also revolves around the signings in Jan too.
Yeah. The signing singular at most.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
But to your point, yeah, I don't think we have the personnel to do it. We look at our subs we made. when we were trying to, imagine going into battle. Yeah, you look behind you and Jorginho and Zinchenko are your options, fam. What is even going on, fam? You need to turn the tide.
I'll have to put my white handkerchief on a stick.
Just wave it.
Wave your flag.
Wave your flag. Kanan, World Cup vibe.
World Cup. That's correct.
It's a chicken wrap. Like, honestly, yesterday, and to be fair, I'll give credit to Jorginho actually, because he played 3 very good balls. Actually,
he really tries to
very good balls in. He played one for Jesus. He played one really nice ball in between the midfield for Miles Lewis-Skelly, who was marginally offside. And he played one for Havertz over the top, which he crossed to Dubravka.
That's so rude.
No, he
was aiming for Jesus. That's rude.
Aiming for Dubravka. He said,
I'm not cutting him any slack this week, I swear. He needs to get his act. The whole team and front line need to get that act in order. The only player I think that can leave with credibility yesterday, Miles Lewis-Skelly. France made such a great point yesterday. He said he's a Partey at left back, and it's so true.
Yeah.
Press resistant. He's a centre mid by default. Like, his main position is centre mid, but he plays the game like Partey at right back. He will lure you in. He will take his time on the ball, but he knows where he's going to spin out to. He knows what direction he's going to spin you, and then he's moving forward with the ball. And I really love that about him. And then Declan Rice, who I think had great set-piece deliveries, but also was really in the 8 role. He was defending deep. You can see where he is here in this, defending deep alongside Partey, then bombing it up, working his way in between the lines. Unfortunately, though, I think it was partly his and Partey's fault for the second goal. There was a lapse where Isak just had too much space to receive the ball. But honestly,
between the lines.
Exactly.
Who was it that gave him the ball? Was it Tonali?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Doesn't really
that 1-2. There was that 1-2.
It was a 1-2 exactly. Yeah.
When you see a play like that, you realize, somebody hasn't got tight to their marker before that second pass is played. Because after that, lights out.
100%. They got caught. They got caught ball watching for sure.
Easily. Can I ask you guys a question? If you were Isak, would you come to Arsenal?
No.
Knowing, by the way, that you might have to play left back as well.
Shut up, man.
I'm this serious. Pretty much every player has had to play in defense at some point. Almost every player.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, look at this is the defending I'm talking about. So check this. So this is the ball Tonali plays to Isak. In between, Partey's parted like the Red Sea. Is Isak chilling here? The ball comes in here. Isak plays a 1-2 and picks this ball up in between these 4 players. So Martinelli, MLS, Gabriel Rice. And then the reaction
Murphy again.
It's Murphy, The reaction to get to Isak once he picks this ball up is just
that was a very good pass from Murphy, by the way. He
delays
it right into the last moment to get it into Isak's stride.
But why Arsenal don't even understand their own lines. Like we play 4-3-3, and then we shift shape sometimes defensively to a back 5. That back 5 is not even always ready by the time these guys are attacking. And this is what I mean about them catching us slipping and literally just being on the front foot and being active and not being afraid to force the issue. They pass in between lines whenever possible. So if you're trying to make a comeback as a midfield with your little shape that you're playing over here, they will literally just one person bombs in between that line and they spray a passing.
Again and again.
Spray a pass in between that line. And then from there, it's chaos. That lack of fear is the same lack of fear that Liverpool have. And we sit there and want to analyze every single... Don't pass unless you're 110% sure that the person receiving it is going to be able to get it. They need to be able to have a great touch. So it needs to be a slow pass. It's like, what we do, teaching 5-year-olds.
Yep.
It
Literally.
takes the spontaneity out of the game as well, isn't it?
Exactly. It's predictable. It's
Mm.
very predictable. Every single pass is telegraphing exactly what's going to come next.
Mm.
It's the reason why there are a lot of interceptions. There are a lot of basically by the time we even get to the final third, we've lost all momentum. We've lost the element of surprise. We do the donut, the back and forth, or the U, back and forth and back and forth. It's not it. Even
Question quickly before we go into lineup builder for the United game in the FA Cup and we round up. Would you explore moving Rice back to the DM role at the expense of putting Partey on the bench so that we can actually play an attacking team in that second leg? So to have an actual listen, I'd rather have Martinelli out left, Trossard inside, Jesus out. Sorry, then Odegaard right 8, Jesus right wing,
left.
Havertz at top.
Who is left? Who's left?
Martinelli, Trossard. Martinelli, Trossard
Trossard.
left 8. Yeah. So Martinelli, Trossard on the left.
Trossard performed well though. I feel like every time he's played there, it's been so hit and miss. Honestly, I would take Lewis Skelly out of left back. Put him in the 8.
Put who left back? Calafiori.
Calafiori might have to go left back and just hold it.
What about
you're
Zinchenko?
not going up.
I would love no joke. I would actually love Zinchenko. I think fans are tired of seeing him, but I think he's a good left 8.
Why again? Why has this not been tried? I even said in Monteki to NLG that realistically, if Zinchenko isn't good as a left 8, okay, and let's say Arteta's tried it in training and is very much aware of the shortcomings, he can literally come out and say, you know what? In order to kind of remedy the situation, we're looking at other options. We've tried Zinchenko, hasn't really worked, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? People will literally get the sense that, okay, there have been avenues that have been explored. If it hasn't worked, it hasn't worked. But we're sitting here with an individual, with a man who hasn't tried it in game situations, hasn't come out and said anything about whether it has or hasn't worked, whether it's been tried or hasn't been tried. But then when we see Zinchenko in certain games, not just inverting, but in some games, he literally spends so much of his time in that position that he practically is the left 8. And you look at that, and when he's devoid of defensive responsibility, he looks a player.
Bro,
he's spiritually left 8.
Everything's inverted, come like Inception. The ball's inverted now. I don't know what else is inverted. Honestly.
So you sit there and you look at it and you say, you know what? It just seems like an immense amount of either foolishness or stubbornness. Maybe a combination of both.
Yeah, I truly think so. I think so.
Before the builder, you want to have a look at the
yeah.
Go on.
Let's pull it up.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Hey, red cup vibes.
Yo,
what's in the cup?
Yo, man,
you need to take that cup to forensics.
See, people, this is what happens when Arsenal don't make signings. This is what happens when Arsenal don't make signings. The red cups come out, mate.
The red cups.
I've not even thought about the transfer window. Like, it's when you mention it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's January. But
yeah, which is just another day for Arsenal, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
It's just a Wednesday. It's just a Wednesday.
Let's spend a quick 2 minutes, and I mean, people can pause this and kind of have a look through this team.
Yeah. We're gonna wrap up ASAP, but yeah, just to digest Arteta's Arsenal signings. And if we work our way up the pitch, there is basically a whole 11. There's almost 2 teams of 11 between the defense and the goalkeepers, pretty much, which is nuts. Matt Ryan, pants washed, back up. Renison couldn't catch anything, to be honest. Couldn't catch Corona. Matt Turner, I mean, we sold him after a season. Ramsdale, good keeper. He replaced him. David Raya, great keeper. I'd say both are great keepers, actually. Right back, Cedric. How did he stay at the club so long? Tomiyasu breaks down more than a Cat D car. Jurriën Timber, good player. Ben White, good player. We were at what? 4 good signings? Ramsdale, Raya, Timber, White.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Trusty didn't trust the process. He left. Pablo Mari washed. Kivior washed. Gabriel's decent. So we got one good left centre back there. Where's Saliba? Oh, Saliba's not a signing, of course.
Saliba wasn't, yeah.
Left back. Calafiori, Zinchenko, Tavares. They are all mid defenders.
In them. The dog whisperer in them, man. Let's go.
We've got, oh God. Literally, they're all washed. One listens to UK drill, the other's a dog whisperer, and I don't know why I've gone for Zinchenko. He's still, I think in his mind, he's still playing left. He's still playing centre mid for Ukraine, where he should be playing for us. He should be playing up in
head loss. He's gone. Don't mind him.
Midfield, Lokonga. Well, Vincent Company sold us $1 and a dream, because we should have paid about $1, but we paid actual money for him. He was washed. Jorginho, I think, is a decent squad player.
Placeholder.
Yeah, he's a placeholder. So squad player. I agree. He's not a starter for us. He's our third choice. Yeah, he's roughly our third choice.
Can I just say, I don't want the club making signings like that to be third choice. That should be a pathway for a youth player. But that's not the point of this conversation.
100%. No. No. I hear that though. Very, very right. So we have 4. We'll go 6. I think we can add Jorginho and Partey there, unless we disagree. So
definitely Partey. I think Jorginho is a tough one for me, because I really think that he's not somebody who can drive the team on. So the signing is just like, you're there just to kind of mark time. And while that can be beneficial if you have really top signings ahead of him, you don't. You don't. You have one top signing who's constantly injured, by the way. So it was a weird signing to make.
We have 2, but the thing is, Arteta's tactics, Rice and Partey are the 2 ahead of him, technically.
But Rice is now being considered an 8, so he's in the other position.
Okay, well, we're at 6 good signings out of what? That's 7,
30.
11, 13.
30.
No, sorry, I'm just counting the
for
bottom.
What we count so far.
Oh, how many we've got? So just finish, and then give the overall.
So 6 out of 15 there. We go to left 8. Declan Rice, solid player. I think he's being wasted. There. Marino,
definitely not a chance.
Not a chance. Ceballos is better than Marino, but also not a chance. So yeah, honestly, washed up there. 7. Fabio. First name basis. We're not having the second name. We're not having the second name in there. Fabio, stay at Porto. Don't do no recall, no loan. Odegaard, baller. We know this. We're keeping him there. He's not having good games though. Willian, the player Arteta told we would win the Champions League in phase, whatever it is, more phases than Marvel. When is
Brazilian
it the end game?
Willian. He left Arsenal looking like a competitive eater. It's his belly hanging out. Man. Don't ever. Bear in mind, when he came off the back of an incredible season for Chelsea.
I remember that. Like, you couldn't stop him.
You could not stop the guy. And Arteta just dragged him through the mud somehow. Took him past every restaurant before he left. Ridiculous.
Holloway Road, sweet hands.
I was thinking Cockbusters, but yeah, Holloway, yeah.
You put sweet hands out of business. It's incredible.
He went
closed down.
He went sweet hands and Banku and Partey on his off day.
Incredible.
Oh god. Okay. Marquinhos, I only remember him crying that one game and then leaving the club, so I'm not even gonna chat about that. Jesus gave us 1.5 good seasons, and then the rest is history.
Constantly injured.
Havertz, we need a third-party investigation into Chelsea and Arsenal's dealing.
For real.
Sterling, add that to the Chelsea investigation. 115 for Chelsea.
Real.
And Trossard, I actually think is a good signing, but he should not be starting a starting player. He should be coming on when another team has tired legs and exploiting space and working his way. In between the spaces, in between the lines. That takes us to what? 7. I'll say 9 out
That's
of 30.
9 out of
30.
30.
Yeah. The original tweet says 7 out of 31. I would go 9, but if you want to be harsh, 7
out of 31. Okay, and let me say this. Did you add Tomiyasu to this list?
No.
Yeah, we didn't.
No.
Okay, good. Because
there's no way we can justify that as well.
No, unfortunately, as good a player as he is, it's the consistent injuries.
Mm-hmm.
You could possibly talk about Jorginho and maybe Gabriel Jesus here as well. I think Gabriel Jesus did really well for us. He has been consistently injured across seasons, sometimes multiple times a season, and that can be seen as a massive backdraw. Somebody could look at that and say, again, availability is the best ability and all of that rubbish, and that could disqualify him. And so, you could be looking at potentially, depending on whose list, 2 players drop from the 9, which could make 7. I kind of agree with the 9. But boy, anywhere in between, either way, it's not a good.
Exactly.
Less than 33%.
Yeah.
Less than a third of your signings are actually good and of proper use to the team.
Yeah, and you spent 700 million. Talking about the UK population, there's about 60 odd million of us. It's about 10 million each. We might as well split it and call it a day. We'll buy mansions in Spain and call it a day. Buy visas. We could
Every
definitely.
time I see those tweets, it cracks me up.
Honestly,
we can use the money.
Give me the money.
Give me
the money. 10 mil each for every person in the UK. Who says no? Honestly, we can drop a poll. Who says no to that? We'll do a better job than Arteta. Honestly, I'm tired of this guy. All right, people. Lineup builder time. Man United versus Arsenal. FA Cup 3rd round. Honestly, I'm like checked out from all of these competitions at this point. But we've got a chance. Do we really? I don't know.
I was about to say.
Can I say something? I would pick that backline, but why have you not given us the choice?
There's no choice, bro. Because there is no choice. There's no choice.
It's a bit rude.
Do you want me to dash? Right at left back and Tomiyasu at right back?
Okay,
There's no choice.
Then.
And the way he tried to slide it in is like, this is how it comes.
Yeah.
Maybe this is what Arteta is doing. Like, yo.
You didn't have an option on these ones.
Maybe this is why Edu did a runner, because Arteta just came to the meetings with the lineup builder complete. Like,
he did. Just said, these are the players I want, take it or leave it. Take it or leave, more like.
Okay, let's go with the 6 up, the 6 in front. CDM, what we doing? And consider, would you do Rice to go more attacking against United, or would you stick with Partey?
No, Partey can rest.
Rich, considering we also got Tottenham next week on Wednesday, I think.
Partey can rest,
Partey can rest. Oh,
yeah.
Surprise, we're in agreement. To be honest, because Also, I don't even really want to talk about the allegations, but they're saying some information got submitted to the Crown Court about a player in the Premier League who has an allegation against them.
I've heard this about 1,000 times.
Same here. But we never know. Left and right 8.
Leave that to them.
Right 8 picks himself as Odegaard.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Trossard in that left 8, man.
Personally,
I love seeing Ranieri, but he's injured. Failing that, Trossard, but Trossard just inconsistency, poor decision making.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
but might have to go Trossard here.
No Zinni, no.
You don't get any choice here because you picked the first 5. You're asking us.
Exactly. There you go.
I'm giving you bad. I only chose 4. I gave you like 6 choices
You
on the
chose
video.
No.
five.
I was gonna choose
Actually,
Neto as well.
you lot got more choice than even I had. Even more than I had on the.
No, because you divided between me and France. Basically, you chose 5 on your
Nah.
own.
Thank you. Thank
Why
you.
is he trying to twang this like a front
Okay.
cow?
He thinks he's real slick.
Okay,
He thinks he's real slick.
I gave you.
Don't mind him.
Uh,
Absolute
You
random.
know, 43 formations at NSG. When you're on the field, you can't run out of options. So that's not Arteta saying. Except we run out of options because everyone's injured or broken down.
Exactly.
We don't run out of
Uh,
options for formations. 42.
42,
Yeah.
42 different formations. How do we go up top? Is there any choice?
Put in heaven.
Honestly,
You might as well. Somebody's got to do it. Anyway, I think it has to be Gabriel. I'm sorry. I
hey,
don't see what Havertz is going to do.
I said something on my match reaction. Yeah, Francis was trying to banter me. I think Havertz had his best performance in an Arsenal t-shirt out on right wing for the last 20 minutes. He beat his man twice, which I think is more than he's
oh
ever.
It was
yeah,
like
he got
Bird.
hacked down
It was
though.
Dan Bird. But it
He
was
got
Bird.
he ran out of ideas before, was it Gordy who hacked him down?
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't have it in his leg to take
He
another.
initially came up against Dan Bird.
Yeah.
Who is slower than Dan Bird? No one.
No one.
Marino.
This is what it is.
Fair.
This is what it
Marino's
is.
fair.
Bro, Dan Bird is great if he's static at the back. He's wonderful just because of how big he is. But he's running on the wing.
Havertz for right wing, man.
Don't
Havertz for right
ever
wing.
your life.
Nah. Honestly, we cannot. I don't even want him on the pitch, Havertz. But we're probably gonna stick him up top. Sticking him up top. Do we have an option?
But
Jesus.
if Jesus goes up top, and assuming Martinelli takes a wing spot, who takes the other wing spot?
Yeah.
Wing stop, man.
Wingstop. Shout out Wingstop. Sponsor us. Sponsor us. Sponsor us.
Innit? Literally, just give us chicken, we're fine.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah, France, what would you do if you're gonna do Jesus?
Jesus, yeah, because Trossard
Yes,
is taking that
Jesus.
left 8 spots. Oh, this is so bad. Yeah, it's gonna have to be Havertz through the middle and then Jesus on the right.
Yeah.
I know Sterling's back, but I don't think he's probably fit enough to start.
No.
Bro, get him on a first class flight to West London ASAP.
This guy wants him on a flight to
Bro.
West London.
Yes, Ryanair him to City Airport.
The funny thing is, this guy, the plane will just fly in a circle and land right back at the same airport.
The logistics are bad. He'll have to go from wherever he is to Luton or Stansted, and then go to Heathrow.
Bro, there's no point in even going to Heathrow. Bro.
You might as well. By the
You might
time
as well
he
just
lands,
travel to Heathrow, loop the loop, land at Heathrow, and then just be there.
exactly. By the time he lands, it'll be the summer transfer window, and he'll be gone. So that's my call.
That's a lot of fuel.
just drive around, keep him up there. Okay, all right. So we've gone with the standard back for the audio listeners. Raya in goal, Timber right back, Saliba, Gabriel centre backs, Lewis Skelly left back, midfield. Rice at the base instead of Partey for this game. He gets rest ahead of Tottenham next week. We've gone with Odegaard as the right 8, Trossard as the left 8. Out left wing, Martinelli. Up top, Havertz. And out on the right wing, Gabriel Jesus for the match against Manchester United. Last but not least, score predictions before we round out for the hour. Non-techie.
2-1 Arsenal. Because we've just not been keeping clean sheets this season. At least with how defensive we've been in previous years, you can say we keep clean sheets. But nah, we always look like we can concede the goal. And I think maybe Amorim might have found something to make United click. So, albeit they faced Liverpool. And I think United faced Newcastle with that 3-4-3 formation. And there was this really interesting analysis of their approach by Jamie Carragher. He spoke about their wing backs in that 3-4-3. I think it's Dalot and maybe, I don't know, Diallo, whoever it was. they don't advance. They just don't have the bravery. They want to be in a back five rather than be part of a midfield four and part of the
Yeah.
front line. And against Liverpool, it felt like Amorim and the whole team. Yeah, because they made the third man runs with the confidence that we'd be found. And so I think they've got something there.
Yeah, 100%. And this is what I always say. Against the better teams, I would rather you the best teams in the Prem, especially Liverpool, yeah, their danger people are Trent. So basically, and Salah. So what you want to do is stop them progressing so much into your half of the pitch. And if you have good fullbacks that can make them think twice about doing so, you can actually start to stifle them. And that's what United managed to do, and at least give them something to think about. And Liverpool didn't back down from that. They continued to do what they do, which is why United had some joy, I think, finding some space. But okay. So was it 2-1?
2-1 for me.
France.
2-1.
2-1. I think it's going to be a tough game, and I really think it could go either way. Either we could lose or win, but I'm going to go 3-1 to Arsenal. I feel like we'll get goals. We'll concede 2. But I'm going with my standard 3-1. Let's see how that one pans out. Do I have much faith? No. But hey, that's what we do. We turn up every week as Gooners. So people, that wraps it for this episode. Drop a like if you liked it. Drop a sub if you loved it. Be a part of the NLG fam. And have a happy and great rest of a Arsenal won't sign a striker week. And catch you lot in a bit. Peace.
Take care, guys.